And he did a good job. He came in. He's one of those guys that's pretty calm. I coached a player like him once, Ty Detmer. He's never, it was just, the whole time, and it's a good trait for him. It wasn't perfect. There were a number of things that we're going to be able to coach off of the tape on, but I thought we played with energy, and that was a big concern of mine coming off a Monday night West Coast trip. And I thought we played with a lot of energy.
Coach, how much faith do you have in the ground game since you're in the addition of Ingram and then your second quarterback hurt?
Yeah, I like our ground game. A little different defense in this game. We got a lot of, usually when you put in sub, they would match it. But this game in the first half, there was a ton of heavy fronts, base personnel. It's always been a hard defense to run against. I don't know what our rushing numbers ended up being. They're first in the league, and I knew we were going to have to throw it to win.
Hey, Sean, what's the prognosis on Daniel?
Yeah, I'm going to get an update here. I think it's significant. He felt something, and he's on crutches right now. I don't want to say until I have a chance to talk with the doctors, but it was something. When he got up and then had to go back down, you were a little concerned.
How does that affect what you try to do out?
I was asked that at halftime. I would say, truthfully, that we spent more time at halftime on what Tampa was doing differently than what we had seen them do in however many years or games. A lot more heavy, a lot more pressure, and so at halftime we spent a lot of time on protections, personnel groupings, and so when I was asked that coming out, obviously in the back of my mind I knew, or at least I think I felt like I knew the things that he does well, but the pressing matter was protection. What runs do we feel good about? And then our second down plan, that changed a little bit. So those moving parts, I think, kind of took us away from Trevor's playing. Yeah, I mean, we knew Trevor's playing. That hadn't happened a lot since I've been here. We've had backups play, but we knew they were playing. This is, I think, the second time since I've been here, really. Drew got hurt in the San Francisco game, I believe, and at halftime, he didn't feel like he could play, and then this is the second time that I can remember in 16 years. So, man, he handled the situation well. It's always difficult when you don't get a lot of the reps, but he's an experienced player. He's been a starter in our league.
John, it seemed like Trevor was comfortable throwing to Alex Armah, Garrett Griffin, Kevin White.
Well, I don't know that anyone goes into the game saying we're comfortable throwing to Alex Armah. And I like Alex, and he's a fullback, and we found him, and it was a pressure look, and he scored. It was awesome. Yeah, I know where you're going. There's no I have a chemistry with the two. I think he's got to go out and execute the offense. I think the read took him to Alex on that play, and we were counting on a goal line defense. We got on the field late. They matched, but they weren't in a goal line defense. Fortunately, we had a play that was going to protect regardless whatever defense we were in, and I'd prefer to throw that play to the right, the quarterback's right, but there was a reason for that relative to the game plan. And look, I think that was one of his better throws. That's pretty hard, flipping around going that way. Yeah, I know what you're thinking. But here's the thing. They got time. They got an eternity. I'm thinking score. So I still haven't met the person that's got the form. I hear all the time, you can't leave Brady time on the clock. And so there's two methods. We could eat up time and kick a field goal, and he's got plenty of time to get his team back in field goal range. The perfect scenario is you eat up clock and you score. Well, that's easier said than done. In other words, run, score on third down. And so I'm thinking of scoring on any down, because when you look at the time and you do the studies, him having to come back to kick a field goal is much easier than him having to come back and score. And obviously, I don't want to throw an incomplete pass. I don't. And yet, everything about today's approach was going to be like super, super aggressive. And I heard the fans, it is what it is, but there's more to it than just, I'm always curious as a play caller when the announcers say, hey, you want to eat up as much time as possible and then score. Well, then I want to know those 3 plays.
Considering that you were on your third down, does that make it
On my what?
on your third quarterback, does it make it any more significant to that you went this game?
I didn't understand. I'm on my third. I thought I was on my second.
Well,
Oh, well, that would be my second, though, in a game. Had Taysom been playing today, it would have been Trevor. It would have been Taysom next week. But, yeah, I mean, look, I understand. One of the traits that I think he has, I'm talking about Trevor, is, and this is difficult, some guys have trouble if they don't get the work, the reps with the system, you know, and I think he can go in and function and understand. And here's the hardest thing is to pay attention every week like you're going to be in that game when you're the 2. Every week, and you might do that for 4 years before you win a game. That's pretty hard. Like, but then you got to pay attention next week. And so he has some of those traits that you would say, man, that's not for everyone. You know, that's some guys, if they're going in without any work, it's going to be difficult. But he was cool at halftime, and we had like I said, there was more thought was being given to adjusting to what we were seeing from Tampa than Trevor's in the game. They were pressuring Jameis. They were pressuring all of us. And so that didn't change because Trevor was in the game. And it's a pressure defense. They're first in the NFL, meaning in calling pressures, you know, linebacker or safety pressures. And sure enough, that was the case today. And we knew we were going to have to be a little aggressive. Like, we weren't going to be able to just try to run it into some tough looks. And, you know, Kevin catches a deep ball to get us started. I think we score on that first drive. I thought that was tremendously important for the confidence of. So I think that's one of the challenges, Ed, in being the 2. Like, it's not just week to week. It might be 2-3 years. And then are you ready in week 5 of your third? You know, that's pretty challenging.
You know, what about a similar guy on the other side of the ball, P.J. Williams, who doesn't know when he's going?
Well, but at least he's got packages where he's playing. Like, he's a starter in dime packages, third down, and he's a smart player. I would have liked to have seen him take a knee, and then the game would have been over. But he's always had good instincts, and he's always had good ball skills, and those things have served him well. That was a big play. The turnovers they were significant. And I think we talked about, I mean, it's hard to be in the media and say, well, the turnovers are going to be a big difference in this game. And obviously, but man, they have been so much in our series. You know, the last game I watched last afternoon was our playoff loss. And we had 4 turnovers. And yet, the third turnover, it's a field goal game. Like, meaning we overcame the early interception and then the fumble, and that was a hard-fought game, but those possessions are just worth too much, and the game is very fast, and they're significant. And so that was important.
What does it say about your confidence in Trevor? 2 minutes left to throw it to him.
Yeah, we're definitely, listen, now I wasn't throwing, I mean, we were throwing some stuff that we know by heart. But when we had that time in there, I'm like, boys, I've seen this. I've just seen it. Like, I'm thinking, I want to score and let him go ahead and do his thing, and I got 3 timeouts, so we might score again. Like, you follow me? There was too much time and too much timeouts in the coach's pockets. And that's how I felt. And so, and I think our crowd needs to be a little louder if you want to ask me on third down. I think we've had 2 home games that have been unremarkable, if you want to know the truth.
Sean, I don't know if you saw this as the game was still going on, but when Jameis got hurt, player after player was going into the injury tent to check on him. I'm actually surprised, like.
Yeah, I did. Well, obviously, I didn't see that. Well, picture this, though. If someone got hurt 20 years ago, guys would go by the bench and check on them, and now they just go into a tent. So I get it. I mean, I didn't see it, but I know they're trying to do an exam. I think right away they knew he wasn't going to be able to return, but they go through a series of things, and then there's a protocol. That's all, and I'm sure they were following their protocol.
I guess it just seems significant to me.
It's what?
It just seems significant to me because, like, Tron went in there and then made sure that he helped him on the cart, and I guess I was.
Absolutely. Listen, he's
His relationship.
absolutely, man, absolutely.
Given who you were playing and the fact that Simeon hadn't played in a while, would it be fair to say now that we can look back on every game you coached, this is maybe the most improbable victory of your tenure here?
I don't know. Listen, it always feels good to win, and obviously we're playing last year's Super Bowl champion. We have a ton of respect. I think there's mutual respect between the clubs. It's always a hard-fought game. Those guys have done a great job. I've been on the staff with Casey, Todd Bowles, a bunch of those guys, and I know them well. And man, they're tough. And today was the first day. When you see some of them, congratulate them for winning the Super Bowl. It was a great run, and so it's a division game, and it means a lot. I'm not real good with that. I haven't put up any type of, like, all the stuff goes into closets, and someday maybe reflect on. But this is a good win, and I'm happy more for every player that battled through. I'm happy for Quan, who's fighting a season-ending injury and coming back and playing and being a factor. I'm happy for all those guys that had, good week of preparation. And it's just, there's so much goes into the week. It's the biggest challenge is when you don't have success after like a full week of everything you got and then mustering up the energy to do it again. And so that in itself is motivation, if that makes any sense. And so that was a good win, and I'm proud of Trevor. I'm proud of our players. Those guys fought hard, and I think Tampa fought hard as well. Well, he got a game ball today, and it was you can hear him before you see him game ball. So, but he brings a lot of energy, and it's good to have him back.
Coach, how sad are you for James that, he's worked so hard?
Cried when I saw him coming in. It's hard.
There was a video of him dancing with everyone else on crutches, and
In the locker room?
yeah.
Yeah.
And does that guy ever get down?
It's a great question. He sees things, and Breeze is that way. Like, that trait of being able to tune into a game while it's on. You don't know what the score is, and you watch the body language of the quarterback. I think that's an important trait, and you could never tell if you were winning and losing when you tuned in and you saw Drew. You just, until the score was put up. And Jameis is one of those guys that's that way, glass half full, sees the positives in the adversity. And I think to some degree I'm probably a little like that too. But man, I'm glad we were able to win it. He got a game ball as well. All right, thank you.